Time. Phone away, everything. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Ask Jackie Gordon, the public speaking answer lady, here on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. I'm your host, Jackie Gordon, and this is the part three of my three-part series called Careful, Your Body is Talking. And today we're going to talk about how to add emotion and entertainment to your message by using facial expressions. I had a technical issue right before I started, so that was kind of fun. Fun stuff, fun things. And I'm not even sure I fixed it, but hey, we're going to find out in this episode of Ask Jackie Gordon, the public speaking answer lady. So, coolio. Let me just grab one thing from behind that disappeared, and I will bring it up, and then I'll be able to be right with you. Open that. Woohoo! And we are here, baby. We are here. So, as you know, I talk about a subject during each one of my live streams, and today I'm talking about facial expressions. But if you have any questions about anything related to speaking to sell or public speaking or nerves, whatever, you can ask me in the chat, which you can do by adding a comment or in the chat, depending upon what platform you're in. I'm going to bring the chat on. If anybody's out there and wants to say hi, say hi. Let me see if this overlay is on. Yeah, now it's on. Okay, it's on. Like, I don't know if I can close that window and the chat goes up there. I don't know. We're going to find out. So anyway, today we're talking about body. We're talking about body language, and we're getting the first time we talked about generally body language, and the second time we talked about how to use eye contact. And today we're talking about taking that eye contact and mixing in the rest of your face and adding facial expressions to the mix. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Let's see. Ace your face. You know I love a good rhyme. I can't bear it if I'm not rhyming. So I add emotion and entertainment to your message by using facial expressions. Woot, woot, woot. Move to the next one. Doot. Come on, baby. I'm a terrible mime, but I'm going to do a few things. That was my face talking. That was my weird open. All S words that started with shocked, sad, semi-disgusted, serious, sassy, and shady. Just to inform you that your face can speak when you have no words to say. So today in the live stream, we're going to talk about the importance of facial expressions. I'm going to show you some experts at it that you already probably know, at least a few of them. We're going to talk about tips, and then we're going to make some faces, lots and lots of faces. After that, we're going to talk about face don't do these things with your face. Facial expression don'ts. I'm going to do two versions of the most boring story ever, one deadpan and one with facial expressions. And we'll talk a little bit about how to improve and how to evaluate your own facial expressions. Without further ado. So first up, So facial expressions help speakers who want to sell. Everybody wants to sell, remember that. Enhance their ability to engage, communicate, and connect with their listeners. The eyes, along with the rest of the face, they are there to grab your attention. They're to inform your audience. They're to entertain, engage, and add delight. One of the great cool ways to open is just get up on the stage and be like, make a face, because people will pay attention when you're making a face. If you just get up on stage and you just deadpan them, it could work, really depending upon your subject, but it's not going to be as interesting as if you actually do something with your face. Like, it's also better when the face goes with words, but you can just get up and just make a face. There's nothing to it. Make your face. No, isn't that a song? Make a face. No, that's not a song. So yes. So then next slide. Woohoo! It's hot in here today, folks. Can you tell I'm a little bit schwitzy? So the face helps deliver humor, as I just just demonstrated with my own face. It can add emotion, so sadness, seriousness, any of those emotions, any emotion we read by our faces. And it also helps to build your credibility and your authority with your audience. So you want to use facial expressions as opposed to standing around and being the equivalent of, who was that guy? Was it Walter? It was Howard Cosell. If Howard Cosell, who had that very monotone voice, had a facial expression, it would probably be like deadpan. So don't be like Howard. May he rest in peace. So facial expressions, hard to say. It's good to do that. Expression is a great word for doing your facial exercises. See, facial expressions, facial exercises, because they're great because they add clarity to your story. So if your face is blank and you're telling a story, it can be hard for people to understand your message. But if you're, or even not even just a story, but anything, any part of your message is enhanced by being clearer, by expressing with your face what your words are saying. So that's cool. It also enhances storytelling because you add more animation, you add more drama, you add more emotion to your stories by using facial expressions, and it helps you persuade. You want to come with me, little person? No, I don't. That was creepy. Don't do that. But I'm saying, get in the van. Just kidding. But that persuasiveness that you need to sell is something that will come through when you use facial expressions with your words. And it helps create connection. And also, people see themselves in you. They relate to you better when you're actually using all parts of your body to express yourself. Express yourself. Hey, 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 hey. So I can speak English today. Nonverbal communication is important. So there's a lot of contention. I've done a lot of research about this idea that 90% of communication is nonverbal. It doesn't really matter what that percentage is, because you'll see it's a myth. You'll see it's absolutely true. If you go on the internet, you're going to see anything you want to see, as we know. But what's important is that it matches what you're saying, that it enhances. It's very important because people take nonverbal cues from you, and it will help push your message. So the percentage is important. What's important is that you are aware of your nonverbal communications, especially your facial expressions, because you don't want to have a face that contrasts what you're actually saying, and people won't trust you. So your own relationship with your ability to use your face. I've seen a lot of speakers who just get up and use the same face. They talk like this and they just say the same thing. They can be saying something that's quite varied, but they don't actually change their face at all. It's really boring to look at. And what do we say? We do not want to bore our audience. We want our face and our ears and our eyes and our nose and all the bits to enhance our message. Speaking of which, welcome. Isn't this creepy? How's that creepy picture I made? So your facial expression toolkit includes your forehead, your eyes, your cheeks, your nose, your mouth, your jaw, your chin, your head, all the bits add to your facial expressions. So you want to use them all. I'm not sure. I was wondering about your ears, but I couldn't really make them do anything. There are some people who I'm sure can make their ears wiggle, which may add to their facial expressions as well. So good for them, because I'm not one of them. I'm going to have a little drink of water because it's hot in here today. Now, if anybody's out there and wants to say hi, say so in the chat, which I cannot see. I'm not sure why, but I'll just keep on going. Oh, let's see what happens if I put the chat on. The whole thing becomes really small. All right. Well, I hopefully, if you have something to say it, and I will get it in the chat. Next up, I will talk about this. I had a cute slide last week with the eye contact, and it's the same thing with facial expressions. Babies rock facial expressions. Babies make all kinds of faces. We make all kinds of faces to babies, and because they don't know about how evil and cruel the world is, and how people will make fun of you and be mean to you if you act a little weirder. But I'm here to say, act weird, be strange. Use your face to get your message across so that you can get what you want out of your audience. Be like a baby. Coochie, 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 coo. Be like babies. And remember how we lost a great part of our facial expressions during the troubles. And by that, I mean the pandemic, children. We had to wear masks. Remember smizing? So much better when you use your whole face, but when we, I don't even have I have a piece of paper here. I'll pretend this is my mask. Oops, I don't know what that says, but hopefully it didn't say anything incriminating. But smizing, we had to smile with our eyes during the pandemic because we were all wearing masks, which was really not very helpful. So we're glad that stuff's over. But we all know experts on facial expressions, and the place where I like to look for them is in comedians and entertainers who are masters at facial expressions. So you'll see some people in here like Richard Pryor and George Lopez and Wanda Sykes and I can speak English, Margaret Cho and Whoopi Goldberg and Gilda Radner, and so there's Groucho Marx, amazing with their face. So if you want to like hone your facial expression skills, what you can do is you can go on the internet and watch videos of Carol Burnett and Moms Mabley. Videos are probably videos of Moms Mabley out there. Any performer that you find is great with facial, Rowan Atkinson is amazing. You should go and watch them and then just sort of model them and practice your facial expressions with them because they know what they're doing and they use them so well with their words. You can really get some great insights in how to make your storytelling and your message better by following how comedians use facial expressions. They are masters of it. So your face punches your words. See what I did there? Your face punches your words. What I mean by that is that your facial expressions are going to punctuate what you say. So you really want your facial expressions to be deliberate. You want to make sure you match the expression with what your words are, what your message are, with what you're saying. You want to exaggerate your facial expressions when you are standing on a stage or when you're online, because when we're on this little camera on the internet, that's all you're going to see. You see so little of me. You don't get the whole body language. You don't get me to stand up, and I'm not standing up now because you'll see what I'm wearing on my legs, and that won't be cool. I am wearing pants. Don't you worry about that. But by exaggerating a little your facial expressions, the audience is able to read them better from the stage and also online, where we're limited. So you're limited. I think I have a hair in my eye. Just excuse me for 1 minute, but there's a lash that is sticking me in the eye, and I don't know if that's gonna go down well for me doing this. You know what? It's probably the hair of the beast, and by beasts I mean my cats, because I got a lot of them. I got 3 of them, and the cat hair is everywhere. So you want to also practice making your facial expressions. Some people it comes naturally to, but if you know that you're a person who tends to be nervous or tighten up and clench even your face when you're presenting, whether you're online or you're in real life, practice making faces. So what we're going to do right now is exactly that. So you want to grab a mirror or grab your phone. I happen to have one right here. You can switch it around to look at yourself. Look at me. Turn it to selfie mode. Selfie. Hold on. And like that. Now I can see myself. There I am. See, in my phone. Well, I got a new phone cover this week, so my disgusting phone cover is gone, which is good. Makes me look like I'm not crazy because I was carrying a really gross one. And we are going, I loaded a lot of faces for us to practice with. So you can check your own face while you're listening to me talk about faces. And first up, we're going to talk about happy faces. Happy faces. Happy faces are probably the most common facial expressions you're going to see from the stage, because people who are on stage are often trying to make you feel better. Entertainers certainly want you to feel better, but the darker emotions also add a lot of drama. So I'm always like, don't be afraid of the dark side, folks, because that taking people to the dark side of emotions can help to sell, because you're taking them to a place where they feel pain, or they feel remorse, or they feel a darker emotion, and that helps to make them not want to feel that emotion. And usually people are selling you things that are going to make you feel better. So not that I'm saying everybody's selling drugs, not everybody's selling, but there's often, it's like, your life is going to be better if you do this thing. You're going to have more money if you do this thing. You're going to be healthier if you do these things. So we tend to use a lot of happy faces. I'm going to put my phone down so I get the full use of my face, but I got to say, I don't look too bad. Let's go over there. Get over there and turn that off. So first, so I'm going to go through these fairly, not quickly, but I got a lot of them. So I don't want to be here lingering, because this is the biggest slideshow I've made so far, only because I have all these wonderful faces. So the happy faces can include joyousness, joy. This woman, she looks excited, she looks joyful, she looks happy. She totally reads like she's having a good time. I gotta get my slide thing, my little slide thing. Now this chick looks very excited. I'm not sure she's actually real. You use these apps, and I don't know whether some of them are using AI and some of them are using real people. There's definitely a lot of real people. I don't know if she's real, but she's really excited. So excited, up, enthusiasm. That is a great. You're cheerleading for people. You want to use that face. Be like, come on, guys. I know you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can. I know you can. Cheekiness. I never used that one myself. Grateful. I don't know. This woman, I'm not sure. She looked she looked grateful. She looked like she was just happy to just be like, I'm here for you. That is she looks really sincere. That's a great facial expression to use when you're on stage, because people want to trust you. So sincerity is a great one. I thought this woman looked like I wanted her to be my mom. She looks so loving. She's like, I'm going to love you. I'm going to take care of you. You love your audience, love your listeners, love the people, want to be loved. That is one of the driving forces of humanity. So get up on stage and be like, I love you all. I love for you to make this change for yourself. That's a great stance to take when you're trying to help people change, is to tell them what you want for them, and with an open heart and lovingly. Proud. She looks like she's like, I got this. I did this. And you want to exude pride. There could be times when you want to exude pride in your students, pride that in yourself. So pride's a great one. She looks like it. Confidence. Everybody wants to be confident, but as I'm coaching people, they're always like, how do I get to look like I'm confident like you? Confident like you. I don't know. Yes, I want you to feel confident, but I think that being competent to me is more important. And the confidence comes from knowing that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with your audience. You're delivering the information you're supposed to be delivering. You're more interested in them than you are yourself. And that's how I approach confidence. But this guy looks pretty like he's like, I got this. I got this, y'all. Curious. She's like, I'm just curious about that. Curiosity is one of the powerful moves facially, and when you're crafting content for the internet, when you're crafting content for your listeners, when you're writing your speeches, I love to build in curiosity, because it grabs the attention, wondering, asking questions, making them think, what is this chick doing? What is she talking about? But not in like, what is she talking about? As in, ooh, she's made me curious. So she said something funny, or she said something weird. Curiosity is a very powerful move. So use it and get the curiosity face. Curious or hopeful. She could also be like hopeful. I'm hoping that things will change. Apparently, when you're thinking about the past, you look to one side, and the future, you look to the other side. So she could also be like reminiscing. Are you reminiscing, girl? We don't know. I just picked faces that looked close to what I was interested in. Ha 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 ha! Laughter, so important to get your audience to laugh, because humor makes information stick when you are presenting from online, whether you're doing videos or you're doing a webinar or whatever you're doing. You want people to laugh. You want to laugh yourself. You need to laugh at yourself. Self-deprecating humor can also be very powerful, making your audience laugh. showing that you have the lightness to have frivolity and joy and laughter. Very good for public speaking or speaking to self. We love him. And now I think we're going to the faces of indifference. The blank face. Now, this can be good if you want to create curiosity for a moment with your audience, but I would not live with the blank face, because if the audience doesn't know what you're thinking, they're going to become disinterested in what you're thinking. But the blank face can be funny. It can be like, stop, say nothing. It also helps you dominate your audience. Like I said in last time on eye contact, I was talking about the fact that if you stop what you're saying and do nothing, person who's heckling you or someone who's rustling potato chips in the audience is going to hear themselves in the silence, and the rest of the people or some of the people are going to jump in and manage that person for you. You don't have to fight with hecklers or people who are making noise. Just dead face them, dead stare them, stop. So the blank face can be very, very helpful, but don't wear it out. Blase can work in like a storytelling. I'm just whatever. I'll just ignore everything. It's good for storytelling. I don't know that the powerful speaker uses it much to move people, but the blase comes in, has some value. Blase, if you feel that way. Bored. This is the face you never want to see in your audience, but you could be demonstrating boredom, and that's a boredom. I hate being bored more than anything when I'm listening to speakers, so I don't encourage a lot of use of bored, but it could be funny to use it in a speech where you're talking about being bored, as I'm doing right now. It could be amusing, and maybe it's not. Next. Asleep is bad, but asleep can be funny, and asleep can be a punctuation. Oh my God, that was the person who was speaking. Put me out. Or I was feeling so wonderful, I fell asleep. It was such a wonderful, peaceful moment. Maybe I was meditating. Maybe they were leading me in a meditation, and I was feeling so comfy and at home. I fell asleep. Asleep can work, but hopefully you don't see it in your audience, because that is not good. Not good. Now we have the concerned faces, the faces of, worry. Now this could also be side eye, but he didn't quite look. He looked more like he was scared to me. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm scared. Who's that over there? So worry is very powerful, because a lot of the people who you are speaking to, who you want to sell your products to, sell your services, are worried that they're going to have to live their life the way they are and never change. So worry is a very powerful, not warm and fuzzy, but it's a powerful facial expression to punch home. You don't want to be worried. Embarrassment runs people. People live in fear of ever being embarrassed. So finding a way to be embarrassed on stage could be a power move for you, because that shows your humanity. I actually have a mistake. As I was running through this, I went over these slides. I swear I did. But as I loaded it up to the site and looked through it just to make sure everything was okay, I noticed that there was an S missing in the word message in a later slide. Don't beat me, grammar people. But I was like, oh my God, am I going to stop everything and redo this again? I had that feeling of embarrassment, and that is a very visceral feeling that a lot of people feel. So you can use that feeling to get your message across as well. You don't want people loathe being embarrassed. But, I left the S the way it was, because it also shows your humanity, and being willing to show your embarrassment or tell stories that are embarrassing when you're on stage brings you closer to your audience. It makes them feel like you're human. I am human. I am human. Okay, we got to move faster, because I'm halfway through, and oh my God, shock. Shock. I love this guy. I don't think he's real, but I love the expression I've had. I love the way that he looks like the guy from the Curious George books, the handler. I don't know. Did he have a name? I'm not sure. Curious George, and the guy who wore the hat. I don't know if they made him dress up like this. So shock. Oh, shock is good. Shock is good, especially if you can get your audience to be like, that is a very powerful feeling that people will remember. So if you can shock them, either in a funny way, in a serious way, and show that, or you can show that you were shocked. That is a really good facial expression for a presenter. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, this one's a little bit like the intense stare. He's not mean. He's just intense. Maybe a little serial killer-y. I don't know. What do you think? Is it the hat? He's kind of cute, but I don't know. Anyway, intense. The intense stares is part of your option. The cool thing about her, she's like, oh my God. The cool thing about facial expressions is that there's millions of them. I probably am only covering about 40 here, but anything that you need to do with your face, any part of your face that's going to help you push your message, punctuate your message, enhance your message, make your storytelling better is good. Use whatever it takes. I'm just going over a few of them now, but the sky's the limit. I said the eye's the limit. So she's just like, oh my God, I cannot. Disbelief is funny and it's very common. We have a lot of disbelief going on in the world right now. You're just like, all we do is shake our heads. So I thought she did it really well. She's like, oh my God, I cannot. People who tell you that they know everything, they're very suspicious. People who, we as a people are very suspicious. So you can add a little suspicion into your presentation. That is also something that a lot of people are going to identify with. Is that really what they said? Is that really what they meant? Is that really what you're going to do right now? I'm suspicious. We have a lot of what are those people? The Mythbusters. Mythbusters. They're the people who are I forget the word. It's the people who think the world is flat. Sorry, I forget. There's a word. If anybody's out there and has the word, tell me in the chat. There's a word, I think it starts with a C, about people who are suspicious of everything and think, conspiracy theorists. That's the word. C for conspiracy. They're suspicious. Everything's like suspect. Okay, we're halfway through the slides. Ooh, this one. I don't know this one, Lau. Judgy. I love being judgy. I love being judgy because everyone thinks they're not judgy, or they try to say that they're not judgy. But the truth is, everybody is judgy. We're all judgy. Own it. I want a hat that says judge on it. Besides, if you're more realistic and you're truthful about the fact that you're judgy, you can also put that hand in hand with the fact that you are not always right. I know I am judgy however, I also know that I am not right. So I try to balance the judginess with you don't know what you're talking about, girl. You don't know what you're talking about. I am judging myself right now. Next, move. I wonder what they were thinking. I wonder. Do you ever wonder? This is a great way to start a question for your audience. Make them wonder. It's great when you can use their imagination to pose a question or a story or a circumstance where they can see themselves. Wonder's good. Let me have another zip of this. And this is my favorite. I don't even need to tell you about this one because we all know this one. We're all like, he's just like, I don't know. And he's black. And then we have, unfortunately, the dark side, the unhappy faces. I am risking smearing my Vendetta lipstick. I'm very sorry, but it's so hot in here. I have to hydrate. So in the unhappy faces, we got irritated. Why must you be so annoying? We are all irritated at times. So people are going to, if you show some irritation, I don't know why. It's not horrible, but it's just like, really? That's a good face. It's a bad face. It's a good face. This is one. This is not a good face. Sadness is what we all feel from time to time. And I don't encourage you to break down in tears in front of your audience, but getting a little emotional, a little bit clamped can't be. What happens is when you talk about something sad to your audience, they feel your sadness and they find their own sadness. So you can take them on a journey that may be powerful for them by taking them to a sad place. So is there a private chat happening? Something weird just happened on my computer. Okay, there's nothing happening. Strange things. So yeah, sad is good. Sad is not good, but sad can be powerful. So we are not going to be run away from sadness because it's just a part of life. Now this guy, menacing. Now, I don't know if you want to scare your audience by looking menacing, but it could be appropriate. Maybe if you've got like a biker gang audience and you want to build rapport with them by looking at them the way they might be looking at you. So menacing could work. Shame is hard. We do not like this feeling as human beings. We try to avoid it at all costs, but it can work as far as making people feel bad. It's this wouldn't be my go-to, but it could come in handy, and we all know what it feels like. Even though she's not being that serious about it, when I see the word shame, it's like, which is an emotion that may be appropriate for an audience at some point. Jackie Gordon as a little girl. Oh man, the pouting, the not getting. I was doing it last week. What am I talking about, little girl? I'm talking about little old lady here. Pouting, being sad, making everybody pay. I'm not happy. If I'm not happy, no one is going to be happy. Could work. Oh, this is my favorite. Now, you could say that he has a face. Someone's coming to my house now making noise. I'm going to yell upstairs. Keep it quiet. That is my face when people walk into the show in the middle of it and make noise. Nope. He could also be like, chilling out and just like maybe he has a headache, but I thought it really spoke. Nope. You don't like something. This is a good one. I don't like it. I was trying to think of a food that I didn't like. Oh, Jell-O. No. Jell-O is not my thing. Frown. Basic unhappiness. Could work. Crying. Fake crying can be funny. Fake crying can be manipulative, as we know. Real crying, as I said before, could be taking things a little too far, depending upon your audience. Sometimes you're coaching people and you take them to a place where they have an emotional release and it becomes tearful. So that is real and it is valuable, but it wouldn't be a place where I'd want to keep them as a presenter. When you talk about using facial expressions or bringing up emotions when you are speaking, you're talking about taking your audience on a journey. So if you imagine that this was a scale where my fingers meet my hand is neutral, and anything below is the dark side, and anything above is the upside, all the way from joy to neutral and neutral down to rage. So you want to take them back and forth through that journey. You don't want to leave them in this sad place where they're crying. Maybe a little crying, but not a lot. Oh, mad. Mad is good. We all get mad, man. We're just like, that lady, she's like, because mad helps people move. Mad makes movement. You get mad and you're just like, I'm going to burn this place to the ground. It really is great for persuading and activating people. Mad. And then there's always really mad. Which can be, in that case, with my tongue shaking, could be funny. But, furious, you got to be careful with that. It's another one that's just like, could really, you can lose your power. You can be furious as long as you're not really furious. You don't want to be mad at your audience. You don't want your audience furious with you, but you could take them to a very high point of anger as a way to make a point if you want to, but I would only use fury for humor. That's me, but I don't know your audience and I don't know what content you're creating, so maybe it works for you. And then of course we have extra faces. These ones didn't really fit in a category, so I just put them in their own category, calling them extra. The flirt. The winking can also be like, I've got a secret. or, just a bit of cheekiness. So the wink has different, and blinking. I couldn't really put blinking in, but blinking, because they're stills. And I can't put animation in this thing so far. But blinking can be like, help, help, help me. Blinking can be good. Blink if you're confused. You're like, what? What did he say? So those are kind of eye closed. Then there's completely eye closed. And she looks so happy. It's like, oh, everybody, let's have a Zen moment. So this can be very powerful. And didn't switch. Oh, what's that smell? This is, when things like smelly, those kind of faces, these extra faces are great in storytelling. It could be maybe you're addressing a bunch of trash collectors and it's an appropriate thing to talk about. It could be under any circumstances. I can always find a way to imagine that's having stories about things that smell terrible are going to make you make that face. Oh, so just saying, oh, that was really smelly. No face, boring. But oh, that was horrible. That adds humor and gives people at home, like maybe I have something smelly here in my room, like this rag, and you're not going to be able to smell it, but you're going to know that I'm having that experience by the fact that I'm making a face. So smelly good. Whisper. I got a secret. Spill the tea with me. That's the look of. I like whispering to an audience because it's almost like come closer. You're letting them in on a little secret. That whispering is good when you're doing presenting because it sounds like something like it's just the people in the club. So the whisper can be a great facial expression. So that was that was not all of them. That's just the ones that I picked, the 40 that I picked, because I can't be here all day. I've got only 20 minutes left to make this thing to finish the live stream. So I couldn't do every facial expression known to man, but that'll give you some starters, and hopefully you were following along with me and you're at home following along. So facial expressions, facial expression don'ts. You do not want to have your face contrast what you say. You don't want to mismatch your message. So if you're smiling and you're talking about something that's really, really sad, it's going to be like confusing for the audience. Or if you're talking about something that's really happy and you're weeping, confusing for the audience. Resting bitch face. Not good, especially if that's like your normal face, if that's what you come with. Some people do. They're just like, I don't know, this is my face. Some people, find some lightness, find some levity, find some light and shade in your look. Don't just come at your audience like, that's not cool. If you have tics, if you have sort of nervous things you do, maybe you touch your face, or you pull your, like the Carol Burnett thing where you pull on your ear. You want to control any kind of weird facial things that you do. Maybe if you can't control them, it's one thing, but if you can control them, it would be good. You do not want to be excessively negative. It goes right back with the resting bitch face. You don't want to come at your audience with all kinds of heavy, dark content with your face and a rage and everything sucks. You're going to lose the audience. They don't want to have that level of suffering, so they're going to bounce. At least in their heads, they're going to bounce. They may not leave the room, but they will be bouncing. They'll be thinking about something else. They'll be looking for the phone. They'll be trying to get away from the negativity. Yawning. You don't want to see yawning in your audience, and your audience does not want to see it on you. Now, yawning can be appropriate when you are talking about something that's really boring. You'd be like, oh my God, is that boring? But you don't want to be in yawning land with people. So keep it to the punctuation and not repeated. Now, if you're really tired, I'm going to do another show about how to keep your energy up when you're presenting. So you've got to do things that will snap yourself out of it so you're not falling asleep on stage, because that is not good. Exaggerating is great. As I said at the beginning of this, when you're doing facial expressions, you want to exaggerate them a bit so they can see them in the back of the room when you're speaking live, or they can see them on the screen when you are presenting in this little box that we are presenting in today. You want to exaggerate. You do not want to over-exaggerate your facial expressions because it's going to look really strange. Sorry. I couldn't resist doing that. So, irritated, everything. Joyful. You don't want to do it. Don't overdo it. Basically, don't overdo it. Nodding is good. Nodding, especially when you're listening to people who are talking to you, say you're in a room talking to people live and you ask them questions and they're speaking or they're getting up and interacting with you, you want to nod because that's a very normal verbal cue that you're listening. But you do not want to be like, the bouncing head, the bouncing head, the bouncing head. So you don't want to over nod. You want to make sure you nod. You nod just enough. I'm going to nod enough. And then over squinting. I don't know why you would do this, but over squinting, looking at them like they're, because it makes you look like you're looking at them like, what are they doing? I'm squinting at my audience. Now, maybe you need glasses and maybe you should get some before you get on stage. I don't know why anybody would do that, but it is a thing, apparently, because it came up in my search for things that people do badly on stage with regards to facial expression. So squinting is good when you're like irritated, but you don't want to like live there when you're presenting. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Will the slide forward? Maybe. No, it doesn't want to. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of facial expressions is when you're giving feedback. So say you're a coach, a speaking coach like me, and you are listening to someone who's presenting to get some criticism and feedback and tips on how to make it better. You want to like kind of keep your face positive or neutral. You don't want to be like, so you have to intentionally brace your face so that you don't throw off the speaker by expressing what you're thinking in your mind. You could think, oh my God, this is terrible. But you want to be like, oh my God, this is terrible. So you keep your face in a very relaxed way so that you can write notes, they can't read it and then be thrown off by the fact that you're already critiquing them without actually saying anything. And when you do critique people, you want to make sure you sugarcoat it. You want to balance it so that you don't freak people out, because you want them to get better. You're critiquing them to make them better. You're not trying to take them out or bully them or make them feel small. So put on a positive or neutral face. So now I'm going to read the most boring story ever. I actually asked AI to write me the most boring story ever. And I just need to change the screen so I can actually see it because I want to read it. Let's see if that works. Did it work? Nope. Nope, it didn't work. Change the screen. Change the screen to here. I don't know. Let me just move the chat out of the way so I can actually see the story, even though it's not that interesting, folks. So my eyes might be slightly off as I read this. So bear with me, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to read the story two ways. First, I'm going to read it deadpan. I'm going to attempt, I know why my face is very chatty, but I'm going to attempt to read it without any facial expressions, like just deadpan delivery. And then I'm going to read it how I would read it. So this is how it goes. Of course, I can't see it because the slide is all messed up. So I'm going to pull it up elsewhere because the slide is not helping me today, folks. So let me just go back. I do have it elsewhere. So bear with me for one moment. Now I know that the slide, what happens with the slide, with the way the restream works, is that it cuts out part of the screen so you can't actually see it. So if you were going to read something as a tip, if you're going to use one of these streaming apps, you might want to have it elsewhere on your screen, which is exactly what I should have done. And I'm going to write that note as soon as the show is over. Today, something weird happened. Another weird thing happened where I loaded up the slides for the slideshow, and even though they were exactly right when I made them, one of them was missing half the words, which I thought was super weird. I was like, really? Why is this super weird? This super weirdness happened. Oh, now we're losing it again. And now it won't come in. Okay, come in. Blow it up. Okay. We're going to see if I can do this. See? Come on, evil. Why is everything being evil to me? Okay. Once upon a time, there was a man. Oh, I'm sorry, that was way too much energy. Once upon a time, there was a man named John. John was a very ordinary person with an unremarkable life, a small apartment, and a routine job. Every day he woke up at 7 a.m., had breakfast, went to work, came back home, had dinner, and went to bed. On weekends, he would do laundry or go grocery shopping. He didn't have any exciting hobbies or interests. He was content with his uneventful life. One day, John went for a walk in the park and saw a tree that was taller than the others. He stopped to admire it and felt a sense of peace. The end. Sorry. I hope I deadpanned it. I don't know if I got it right that time. I was really trying to make it very uneventful. So that was that delivery. You can follow along at home. And now we're going to try and do it once more with feeling. Hold on. Let me just advance the slide because I put it on there again. For ye who want to follow along at home. Now you can do this at home because I can't hear you. So you could be reading along with me. Once upon a time, there was a man named John. He was a very ordinary people with an unremarkable job, a small apartment, and a routine life. Every day he woke up at 7 a.m., had breakfast, went to work, came back, had dinner, and went to bed. On the weekends, he would do laundry, go grocery shopping. He didn't have any exciting hobbies or interests. He was content with his uneventful life. One day, John went for a walk in the park, and he saw a tree that was taller than any of the other trees. He stopped to admire it, and he felt a sense of peace. The end. That was a little bit better. I should have, no, that was perfect. That was better. That wasn't better. It was fine. I think I lost my other screen. Hold on. So yes, that was the most boring story ever written that I took from I think the artificial intelligence person should have a name like Arthur Innes or Arthur Indigo or Albert Illy, or, I think AI needs an actual name because it's like AI, and we're all screaming about it and everyone's screaming about it, but we should give it a name. So if you have any names for AI, put it in the chat. Put that in the chat. So my point with reading the story both ways was that you can take anything and add more life to it by using facial expressions. Of course, I use facial expressions and vocal variety, which of course to me go hand in hand. So that helps. I was trying to figure out if I could do it with facial expressions and no vocal variety, and I decided it would just be way too hard for me. So, because why would I teach you that anyway? Because that's not what we want you to do. We want you to use vocal variety, use facial expressions, use facial expressions and gestures to make your words come to life. So use everything you got. And that's what I did with poor old John, the most boring man in the world. So how can you improve your own nonverbal? I'm going to change the scene because I'm back. I think is this one I was using? Maybe it was this one. So how can you improve your own nonverbal communication? Well, it's the same way that you improve your eye contact, which is what I talked about. And the last way is to practice it and pay attention. Exactly like your eye contact, you want to find places to practice doing facial expressions, and you want to pay attention by being able to look back at what you did. So you can practice facial expressions anywhere. On the subway, just like your eye contact, maybe you, instead of just looking at people, when you're looking at people, if you just intensely stare at them, it's going to be weird. But if you look at them and smile, warm your eyes up to them, they're going to take it better. You only have to do it for like a second or two and then move on to somebody else. You could certainly dart a look at a kid who's misbehaving on the train. Excuse me, that's another way. Or the person who is playing their personal device without headphones, so it's not very personal, and we all have to listen to their terrible music choices. You could be like, There's lots of places. The subway is just an example, but anywhere that you are speaking to another human being, you can one-on-one certainly. Did I just burp? You can certainly practice your facial expressions. I don't think I did it, but it was a weird sound came out of me. You can do it alone in your mirror, watching yourself. Like if you have a presentation, you've got a story you want to tell, you can practice. It's really good practice to try and deadpan it and then add facial expressions and more vocal variety to what you're saying to see if you can add more life to what you're saying. So do it that way. You certainly can videotape yourself. I do it myself. I have a teleprompter. I have a teleprompter app, and I have a teleprompter, and that's a great way. You put your speech, your presentation, your videos on the teleprompter and videotape it over and over again, doing it different ways with different facial expressions. See what works. Another way is to record yourself when you're presenting, like I am doing right now. Sorry, I'm doing it right now. I'm soaking in it. So I'm recording myself right now it's going to be up on YouTube. It's going to be on LinkedIn. It's going to be everywhere. And I look back at the videos and see how I could have added more vocal part. Today, I'm going to look back at the video and be like, you weren't quite centered. You weren't quite centered in your view. I have a Bode monitor. It's got a little bit of a bend to it, so it makes it a little bit harder to set up the camera because the camera's over there and I'm over here. I don't get it, but that's what we have to do. So sometimes I'm not centered, but you guys are getting what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. The other way is to do it live. If you are speaking live in front of an audience of any kind, whether you're at a Toastmaster meeting or you're presenting at a conference, always videotape yourself so you can see how you did. How did you do? You're only going to know by looking at yourself. And then you want to evaluate yourself. You want to look back at your videos in the mirror, wherever you're trying out your facial expressions, and see whether you liked it. You can see whether you liked it by seeing how it made you feel. That's the way that I started out evaluating speakers and how I wound up being a coach, was that I would always think about, I would have this kinetic response. How did the people make me feel? I always start with how I feel. How do I feel when I'm watching myself? How do I feel when I'm listening myself, when I'm listening to other people? I would constantly write notes and think about, oh, I love that. I didn't like that so much. How could it make it better? And that's how I wound up paving the way for me to becoming a speaking coach, because I was very observant. So you can have that level of observance for yourself. And I find that if I make myself laugh, or I make myself sad, or I make myself, when I'm looking back at videos of myself, if I have a visceral reaction, the right visceral reaction, then I'm sort of on the right track. And then if you really need to work on a presentation, then you can do it at in front of other people. So you could try, you do it for yourself, you watch yourself on video, and then you take the same presentation and do it in front of a live audience, do it in front of your friends, see how if they have the same reaction as you do. That is how you start to evaluate yourself. It all starts with how you feel. Next, so this is the slide that didn't work. So, wow, and then I brought in a new slide, right? I did, hold on. I did it, I brought this in, kids, so we're having it. That slide did not come out properly, so I brought it in as a separate slide. The recap, it didn't print the middle. Don't ask me why. Technology. So the recap of this live stream is that we talked about facial expressions. So what? Why do we need them? We went over why we need them, because they're important. We looked at some comedic experts on facial expressions, comedy. I talked about looking at comedians to learn how to use your face in conjunction with your words. They're experts at it. We went over the best practices and tips. We took a trip through the top 40 facial expressions of all time. No, it wasn't of all time, but they were the top 40 faces that I picked today, so that you would get an idea and you could practice along with me making faces. We talked about things that you shouldn't do when you are making facial expressions. I read The Most Boring Story Ever twice, and we talked about how you can make your facial expressions better by practicing, and how to evaluate yourself. And wow, I cannot believe that I got through this. I got through, what did I have, 80 slides? 80 slides, man, that's crazy. I had 80 slides today. Usually I have 40, but they were pretty fast. But that's a lot. So if you enjoyed the show, or if you have any questions, or you have any comments about facial expressions, you can, it's 6:57. I've got 3 minutes. I cannot believe that I got this done in this limited amount of time. 1 hour. So if you have any questions, I haven't seen anybody chatting to me, but last time I didn't see anybody chatting to me. It turned out they were chatting to me, and I could not see the chat. I do not know why. Technology. So if you are chatting to me and I don't see it, I apologize for the apps, and I apologize for the technology gods. And I will see them after the show is over when I look on LinkedIn or I looked on Facebook. So I apologize to you ahead of time. But if you want to connect with me, that's where you do. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm just Jackie Gordon on LinkedIn, and I would love to see you there. Tell me that you watched the show. Tell me that you watched it from anywhere. Yeah, connect with me, and I'm going to be back next week. Ooh, I have another slide. Hold on. Everybody, hold the phone, kids. I'm going to add one more slide. Ooh, I'm going to add one more slide. This is another one that didn't make the cut. Ooh, let's see what we got here. We got a new slide. And it's the promo for the last of the series, which is the next step in body language, which is from fidgeting to flourishing. Use your hands and other extremities to captivate your audience. So that's going to be the show next week. So that'll be on the 6th of August. I can't believe it's already August, my friends. But that's going to be talking about hands and legs and, all the bits, putting everything together. I will probably still have to sit down because the little box will not allow me to kick it up with my pants. But I will be talking about it. I'll be talking about a lot of body movement, if not actually able to do some of the movements myself. I can certainly make my hands talk because I got the chatty hands. So if anybody has any questions, I can't see them. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn and send me a message, and I will be happy to answer them. I look forward to seeing you guys next time on the next show, and have a wonderful evening. It is now 6:59, and I am going to call it. I'm calling it. Is there another slide? I don't think there is. Let's see. Did I have a last one? Oh, that was a recap one. How about this one? Nope. 79. Oh, we have our closing slide. And I'm so glad we had this time together. That was my little Carol Burnett. She had go look at what's Eunice. Is that Eunice? Was that the character? Unbelievable. Fantastic facial expressions that Eunice used to have on the Carol Burnett show. That's one of my favorite face people. She's got it's like her face is made of rubber. So go look at that, and I'm going to go make dinner.